Love and light, guys. So I thought we could talk about the spiritual purpose and service of animals, and especially pets. So right off the bat, let's recognize that the animal kingdom has its own function and purpose within the world, independent of its interrelation with humanity. And yet it still serves a vital function, and both kingdoms serve each other. So the humans being a scale up on the evolutionary scale of consciousness towards self-consciousness and individuation, we are a future example for them. But they are also a grounding force for us, because we are the ones that have ego. We are the one in the individuation process is also duality. So the animal kingdom is free of duality. And so they are connected to unity in a way that most humans have forgotten. And therefore they serve a grounding function and a function, a loving function with us, connecting us to the love of universe itself, of the mother itself, of the goddess itself, of nature itself. But let us turn our attention more specifically to pets, because they truly serve a vital function and they should be deeply honored in this world. So I've talked before about the Hawkins scale of consciousness, where fear and shame and apathy are down at the bottom, and then we move all the way up the scale to reason, acceptance, and finally get to 500 on the scale, which is unconditional love. And that because this isn't a logarithmic, and it goes higher than that. It goes on to joy and enlightenment and avatar status at 1,000. But it was a logarithmic scale, so that the difference between fear and unconditional love is trillions of times bigger. It's inconceivably bigger in actual energy, and we're talking about actual energy here. So I've also talked about, because of this power differential between love and fear, any human that can stay in the vibration of unconditional love or higher counteracts millions of people vibrating at low vibrations. And thus, this is the service that the Awakening Collective can do for the world. This is the service that each individual person who seeks to stay in love and seeks enlightenment, peace, and joy within themselves can actually do for the world, to actually transform the world itself through the power of their consciousness. And these people, these awakening people, we call them enlightened. On the Hawkins scale, he actually puts enlightenment at 700, which is when the state of unconditional love becomes permanent and there's no wavering, because you can hit the state of unconditional love. Like, I can go to the vibration of unconditional love. I'm not at the vibration of 700 total enlightenment, because that will be when all my karma, human karma, is completely released, when I no longer have any tendencies, any past drives, anything at all left from past lives or this life at all. And I still do. I'm still working through things. So, but I can, and I attempt to every day, and sometimes whole days, I stay in the vibration of unconditional love. Not very often, actually, a whole day, but when I'm doing good, I can get 6-7 hours there. I can get blocks of time where I stay, I stay in a loving place compared to most people all the time. But to be in actual unconditional love, this means for all things in the whole universe. It is the fifth dimension. It is to be completely in the fifth dimension, right? Yeah. So, in any case, the point of me bringing this up was that, again, with the pets. So all of you who understand what awakening is and enlightenment is, and the service that they're doing, we can see that this is why we treat each other with respect in the Awakening Collective, because we know it is a hard path to walk, and it is a service, because We don't actually have to do it. Once you realize, what you are, once you get self-realization, you could just take spiritual ascension if you want. If you didn't want to stay in the world and serve it, and if you weren't interested in raising this physical vehicle up to perfection, So, in any case, the pets, for instance, a cat's purr has been measured by the same people, the Hawkins team, and others who have independently verified this using the Hawkins methods, have determined that a cat's purr vibrates around 500. So it's unconditional love. So for most people, and the large group of people in third density, which is the majority of the world still, maybe 70-80% of the world or something. I'm not exactly sure how much is still asleep yet, but for sure the majority of the world is still in third density, vibrating in suffering, anger, lust, fear, and all of these low vibrations. Most people never get to unconditional love. If anything, they only get conditional love, which is love if it works for you and under these certain conditions, and if it satisfies these parameters, which isn't actual love, because true love, again, is conditional. So egoic love is only a simulation of love. So they're literally living loveless, which is why they're so miserable, So in any case, to hold a purring cat, for most people, this is, or a baby, for instance, but most people, this is one of the only times they get an experience of unconditional love. And they actually raise the whole vibration of the planet, just like humans do. So them vibrating at an unconditional love is a great service to the whole world and to humanity, and especially. And part of the reason they're able to do this service for us is because those pets that are here with us are basically the enlightened beings of their kingdom. Because if you think about it, as we're raising up, into the fourth dimension, into fifth dimension, and we start actually contacting like angelic beings and beings in 5D, we start bridging the gap between the next kingdom. That's what we're doing right now. We are bridging the gap between the next kingdom that we're moving into and the human kingdom. So the animals are doing the same thing, and the pets are their enlightened beings. They are their sages who have begun to take on their own individuation, their own egos. So they are coming from, and you can see it in your pets. Anyone who has pets can see they no longer act the way wild animals do. They have left that collective. They are on their way to the human collective. Love and light be yours.